Welcome to this week's mini episode of WrestleRotica. This story is entitled A Night at Home, and it is written by archive of our own user, Every Woman is a Star. Ivelisse brings over the silk scarf Star asks her to, without question. She knows what they're for, and she doesn't want to ask too many questions. She'd had to convince her partners to stop calling her so much on the way to Star's house, eventually deciding to shut off her phone and ignore their various questions about where she's going, who she's seen, what she's doing. Not many people know she and Star are together, and for the moment, she wants to keep it that way. It's something just the two of them need to know about, and she'll worry about others knowing when they come to it. She pulls up outside of Star's house, reaching for the small bag the scarves are folded up in, and setting it in her lap, taking a slow and deep breath before flipping down her visor to check her makeup in the little mirror. Even though she hasn't worn a lot of makeup for tonight, she's still worn some, and she feels the need to check herself just in case. Impeccable, but not so much that she'd have a problem with getting it mussed and smeared tonight. After all, it likely will. Right? Finally, she pulls her keys out of the ignition and slips them into the back pocket of her jeans, fluffing her hair before sliding out of the car and approaching the front porch. The motion detector light poised at the corner of the porch clicks on. When she nears it enough for it to, a small creature on the periphery of her vision scurries away, and she smiles slightly, wondering how upset Star would be if she knew the light was scaring away the local wildlife. Probably a lot. She loves animals so much. That's why she has one. Said animal is perched in the window when Ivelisse steps onto the porch. Gorda immediately stands and leaps off the back of the couch, and Ivelisse chucks as she raps lightly on the door. Like a dog, Gorda will pace in front of the door and meow as she can to alert Star somebody is at the door, then immediately climb all over the person who steps inside. She's a good kitten, though, and she keeps Star company and cuddles with her plenty. Ivelisse hasn't gone a single night without getting at least one photo of Gorda curled up somewhere on Star, sometimes napping and sometimes batting at the camera. The door swings in and Star is there, Gorda curled up against her ankle and meowing at Ivelisse. I thought you were the only one looking at this time at night. Come in. Gorda says hello. Hi, kitten, Ivelisse says as she steps inside, Gorda immediately climbing up the leg of her jeans with tiny blade-like claws. Ivelisse catches her at the top and holds her, stroking her tiny ears and listening to her meow. I brought the scarves you wanted, Star. Are we going to start now, or do you? If you want. I have no plans to wait. Star takes Gorda after a moment and sets her on the back of the couch, smoothing a hand down her back until she relaxes into a happy little ball. She takes Ivelisse by the hand and leads her back toward the bedroom. And Ivelisse smiles to herself as she follows. Whatever Star has planned, it's bound to be enjoyable. Here, Star shows her the bars on her headboard, set into the wood for design more than anything else as they aren't very useful. I want you to tie my wrist here. Ivelisse has the scarves in hand and has taken off her shirt, hanging it over the footboard and crawling onto the bed toward where Star waits, naked from the waist up. Practical reasons, of course. She can't very well take off a bra or a short with her hands bound, can she? Okay, lay down, and I'll do it. Ivelisse licks her lips, sitting back on her heels, and Star smiles shyly before nodding and laying back, making sure her head is properly supported, before holding her wrist up, wrapping her fingers around the headboard. She looks up when Ivelisse straddles her hips, leaning across her, one of the scarves in hands. For someone who apparently hasn't done much of this before, Ivelisse easily secures her wrist to the headboard and checks to make sure the bonds aren't too tight against her skin. Then, she leans down and brushes a faint kiss over Star's lips that make her shiver slightly, tugging against the bonds slightly. They're tight enough that she isn't going anywhere with them on, but not tight enough that they're going to hurt her. Then Ivelisse's lips start trailing down her neck, and she moans softly, letting her eyes fall closed, tilting her head back so that Ivelisse has more room to work with. So pretty. Ivelisse slides a hand up along her side, teasing the side of her breast without actually touching most of it. I like seeing you tied down. You can't fly this way. Star laughs softly and nods up at her, relaxing into the mattress while Ivelisse returns to slowly kissing down her body. Her lips are feather light and so soft, tracing a path down Star's collarbone to between her breasts, gripping them in her hands, squeezing just hard enough that her rough palms abrade Star's hard nipples, and it feels so good. So fucking good. And Star moans softly, arching up into her hands. Ivelisse smirks down at her and licks her lips, then leans down and runs just the tip of her tongue down Star's belly, stopping at the top of her jeans. Her eyes are wild and dark, and those of a predator, and Star has never felt like prey before. It's not as horrible a feeling as she thought it would be. Take them off, she murmurs, wiggling her hips to draw Ivelisse's eyes down to them. The dark smile she gets in return sets all of her nerves on fire, and Ivelisse nods, unfastening the jeans, spreading the fly open wide to reveal nothing beneath. Naughty girl. You really did want to get started as soon as we came over. You'll ruin your jeans like this. I can always wash them, can't I? Star squirms when Ivelisse presses a wet, open-mouthed kiss to her mound. Please. Since you asked nicely. Ivelisse straightens up and tugs the jeans down Star's legs, her eyes darkening further until she tosses them on the floor, her hands smoothing up the inside of Star's thighs. Be a good girl for me, and I'll let you come. Star squirms the entire time Ivelisse is between her legs, one hand pressed flat to her mat, fingers keeping her spread open while the other is splayed on the soft inside of her thigh. She's slick and hot before Ivelisse ever touches her. She just looks for a moment at all of the flushed, pink, skin wet, with arousal and smirks to herself, listening to Star's labored breathing. Getting that sound from her without even really trying is a triumph if Ivelisse has ever had one. And considering her current position as a champion, she's definitely had triumphs in her life. She gazes up the length of Star's body before lowering her head between Star's legs, looking along just the edge of her labia, tasting the slickness there. Star moans low in her throat and arches her hips up. Ivelisse pulls back a bit, licking the taste from her lips, smirking when Star huffs but lowers her hips back down on the bed. Then she leans in and starts licking her again, tracing idle designs on the inside of her thigh and listening to her low moans. Knowing she can bring these sexy sounds from Star is a trip. She's never been so thrilled to make another woman fall apart for her, and she spent a night in bed with Katrina. But Star is something else. Someone else entirely. Star is hers. There's a level of possession she has for Star that she doesn't have for anyone else. It makes every little sound she earns from Star's lips, every tense and flex of the muscles in her thighs and hips mean something other than Ivelisse is doing a good job. It means she's taking care of someone she cares about, and that hits her hard in the chest, almost hard enough to make her wheeze. Then she shakes it off, because she doesn't have time for the emotional shit right now. She has a job to do. Tell me what you want me to do, Star. Lick me! Star lifts her hips again, and Ivelisse lets her this time, nudging the tip of her nose against Star's clit. There! Put your tongue inside of me, please! Good girl! Ivelisse smirks before flattening her tongue over Star's clit, closing her eyes to just suck in the feel of it, the hardness, the wetness against her tongue, and Star moans loud and long for her. She alternates between quick, hard flicks of the tip of her tongue and long, slow laps before pushing her tongue inside, shuddering herself at how wet Star is, how much she needs this and wants this. It's only when Star is close, so close, that Ivelisse pulls away, retrieving the other scarf and reaching for the one tied around Star's wrist. She has something else in mind. Star's back is arched hard, her knees digging into the mattress. Her eyes are covered and her hands are bound to the frame above her bed. She's sitting with her back to Ivelisse, and Ivelisse's hands are between her thighs, 3 fingers deep inside of her, while she strokes Star's clit with her free hand, murmuring in her ear about how hot and wet she is. She knows. She knows she's on the very edge, and has been for hours, and Ivelisse still hasn't let her come. So good, baby, Ivelisse whispers, and Star whimpers because she wants to come so bad. But she can't. She's so close, and she's still not there. Do you want to come for me? Tell me. Yes. Ivelisse almost sobs the word out, her eyes aching and straining, and her entire core feels tight. Eve, please. Ivelisse hums in her ear before nibbling on the lobe, and Star almost comes from the sharp little pain itself. Okay, baby, come. The words are perfect, and Star falls apart in her arms, shuddering all over, sobbing. She's so wet, and Ivelisse just holds her, talks her down, murmurs to her. Once she's done, Ivelisse takes the scarf off of her eyes and lets her hands down, laying her down, rubbing her down to help ease the soreness away. It's easily the sweetest thing Ivelisse has ever done for her, and she doesn't know what to say, how to respond. She's equally confused when Ivelisse lies down beside her. Ivelisse doesn't usually stay the night with her, and it isn't terribly late. It's barely past 10. But she doesn't question it, just curls into the warmth of her body and closes her eyes. I love you, Ivelisse murmurs. The words so softly Star almost didn't hear them. She blinks her eyes open and stares at Ivelisse in shock. I mean, that I love you. Star takes a slow, deep breath to keep herself and her emotions steady, and then smiles, nodding her head. I love you too. They don't say anything after that. They just lay on top of the covers for a while, Ivelisse soothing her fingers through Star's hair, rubbing soothing circles into her back. Eventually, Star has to get up and go to the bathroom to get cleaned up, sore and exhausted, but in the best way. Ivelisse is waiting for her when she returns, stripped nude, holding the blankets back for her. Star crawls under them and into Ivelisse's waiting arms. She's never been this happy before. The end.